What's up, everybody? Welcome into the PHNX Suns pregame show, brought to you by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. I'm Lindsay. That's Eric. That's Steven. That's Espo. And we got a SEGABABA on our hands, everybody. The Suns are back at it. The second night of a back-to-back. And tonight they are facing off against the Brooklyn Nets. Do you guys feel rested after last night's game?
No, I literally fell asleep in my office.
I don't blame you.
I'm not kidding either.
I think that I'm getting so old that the 8 p.m. games make me feel like I went out and partied. So I'm hungover this morning.
4 hours of sleep, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. That was
Big
my
time.
sleep.
That's rough.
Yeah.
It couldn't be me.
But by the way, can I make one comment?
Of course.
Steven, don't worry. Go to the two-shot just so Steven's uncomfortable while I do this. I'd like to thank the gentleman, I believe it was a gentleman, who in our comments from yesterday's post-game show said, Espo almost makes this show unwatchable. So thank you. I haven't made it fully unwatchable yet. So I'll get there.
Speaking of last night, Leah wants to know, how's the injury from the sexy sacks yesterday?
Look at this. Good? Both knees move.
We're good, y'all.
We're ready to sexy sacks it up in the post game show.
Wasn't even on
Actually,
the injury report.
You should hop on the table tonight, Steven.
I think that's a great idea.
I don't like that idea.
Come on,
Steven, I feel like back in the day, you've jumped on a few tables before. Partied a little hard.
He said never.
Do you see the sign he gave me?
That was the best face we've gotten on the show from Steven.
I promise you I would not be here to speak on it if I did.
You would never know.
Absolutely
My
not.
goal every week is to get a nastier side eye from Steven.
Fun fact, Steven actually used to party so hard he'd wear lampshades on his head.
Oh.
That's where the bucket
origin.
hat look came from. He decided, I'm just going to stick with it.
Hey, whatever got us to where we are, we support it. Ain't that
that's
right?
That's the threat of my mom getting on me for trying to stand on the table because Eric wanted me to.
I mean, like partying, not like when you were like 10.
I really do love that every night, more and more, we make Steven go, why did I choose this? Why did I choose this?
Because he does get to talk basketball majority of the time. When it's just like, it's a little give and take. He's got to put up with our antics and our shenanigans. And then we get to talk about Suns basketball. And they are back in action tonight against the Nets. Last night, we got a solid game from the Suns, and specifically the big three. It was the first time this entire season that all three of them have scored 20 or more points. Here's what Coach Bud had to say pregame on the balance of the big three last night.
Yeah, good. And I think, Devin's been great with the assist. I think, his passing and playmaking, has still stood out. And Kevin's just shot making, Brad's shot making. They got us off to a good start, hit some shots early in the first quarter. I think that just helped our confidence. And it is, I think, people that follow it, it is harder than people realize to have all three guys, have kind of 20-plus nights. It's just, I think if you look at all the great trios, and that's why you have three of them, because, you hope two of them. But so it was, I think a good night for all three of those guys to see the ball go in, to share it with each other, to play together. Everybody really have a good night.
And that's why I said last night was the blueprint of what Mike Budenholzer sat down in the offseason, or even probably what Matt Ishbia thought of when he was like, yeah, we should probably trade for Bradley Beal to add with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. None of them hit 30 points. Mm-hmm. None of them played a ton of minutes. And the role players were all able to fit in seamlessly because all of them were in that 20 to 26 range. This is the offensive juggernaut that we were hoping for when all of these players came to this team.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like, it is tough. He didn't go into too deep detail there, but he did kind of mention it briefly that it's tough to have all three guys have a night every single night like we did see last night. But that's the benefit of having three guys like that. You could just have one of them go off for 40 plus or two of them 30-ish. You know what I mean? On any given night, we can have some variation of the big three.
To be fair, Coach Bud never goes into great detail on anything in particular.
No, you're right.
But Tres Gigantes is here for you this evening yet again. Steven, what was it last night, though, in the way that they used those three guys that made them so effective, even with Beal and KD coming off the injuries?
think the first thing is the pace.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about it a lot. We've talked about it a lot. You get the ball across the half-court line with 24, 23, 22 seconds left instead of 16 or 18. That gives you more time to cycle through options. The defense isn't set quite yet. And particularly for Devin Booker, he scored half, if not more than half of his points within the first, 12 or 14 seconds of the shot clock, just by either screening, getting a mismatch, posting up, or getting into early offense pick and roll. And for Kevin Durant, his his approach to offense speaks for itself. He just scores, gets the ball in his spots, plays a little bit of pick and roll, does a little bit of everything. For Bradley Beal, though, a lot of second side shots that he got opportunities from, some of them off of offensive rebounds. And I think just generally speaking, though, it's the pace that unlocks it. You get more possessions, you get more opportunities to score. More opportunities to score means that each of those three gets more shots on goal.
Hit that thumbs up, everybody. We appreciate you being here with us for the pregame show. As a reminder, and as always, we will have a postgame show after the game wraps up as well. When you look at the Nets tonight, guys, what stands out to you outside of the injury report, of course, that you're going to be keeping an eye on in this one? They do like to shoot the ball.
Yeah, it's 3-pointers, 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 and you have to find a way to limit them because they're 30th, dead last in field goals attempted, but they are 5th in 3-pointers made and attempted, and they're 4th in 3-point percentage. Now, there are some injuries that will probably play into that being a little bit lower tonight, but it's the ultimate equalizer, the 3-ball is, because they are dead last at a lot of other things. They're 30th in rebounds, 29th in steals, 30th in blocks, 24th in field goals made. The 3-ball is why they've been able to impress and be a little bit better than some people expected this year. So if you can limit that, maybe make them take less threes and hit a little bit under their season average, with what you have on your roster, you should be able to walk away with a pretty convincing win.
I want to shine a light on Jordy Fernandez. They hired him away from the Sacramento Kings as the offensive kind of spearheading in tandem with Mike Brown up there. And the offense that they were running, a lot of quick hitting actions, up-tempo, early in the shot clock, a lot of pressure on the rim. They have adopted a whole lot of those things. They don't necessarily have the personnel that the Kings did, but they have Dennis Schroeder. And Dennis Schroeder is a walking paint touch. You can't stand in front of him. He's arguably the fastest player in the league, arguably the quickest first step. He knows how to score off of his own paint touches, but he's also really adept at passing off of that. They don't have Cam Thomas, but he's going to have the ball in his hands a whole lot more. The Suns have to figure out how to contain the ball. They haven't been good containing the ball, especially in pick and roll. He's going to run a lot of those. If he's running and doing all the things that he likes to do best, that's going to make this game tough to navigate. And then the other big thing is defensively. The Nets aren't good statistically defensively, but they do a lot of things that can make them good. A lot of switching, pickup points are super high, a lot of pressure. A lot of switching. The Suns have to come with their game tonight.
I mean, Ben Simmons has played some major minutes for this team, so what that screams to me is double teams away from him all night. You can hedge your bet there. Hardly has shot the ball and has not attempted a three. So leave him wide open out there and hedge your bet on one of the few guys left in that Nets lineup and see what you can make happen. Because we talked about Ryan Dunn, being kind of a weak spot and teams doing that to him. Ben Simmons is about the easiest guy to cheat off of in the entire NBA, which is saying something.
That's
so,
tough.
yeah.
My toxic trait is I still believe in Ben Simmons for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because I want it to happen. Like, not that I think it will happen, but the concept and the idea of Ben Simmons, I'm like, maybe if he just finds the right spot.
Ben Simmons is essentially Kendall Marshall right now. Great. You can make a lot of assists. Congratulations. You're also making a lot of money to not be able to shoot whatsoever. Like Ben Simmons, that train has sailed.
I know. It's just I want it
metaphor.
to be.
Like train
The train
has
is set
sailed.
sail.
All right.
That's right.
Off to Kaminsky Cove.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the injury report because you did bring up Ben Simmons getting some minutes for the Nets lately. That's because partly because their injury report is so big, we had to let it fall and push into the Sun side of this graphic here. Blessings to them. But before we dive into that, our side is looking pretty good. Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal are both available again for tonight's game. Colin Gillespie remains out with that right ankle fracture. KD was probable ahead of this game, and Beal was questionable ahead of this game. Coach Bud said that Beal just needed to go through his warm-ups, just to be extra safe. They're just being extra cautious here, looking at the long term, not the short term. And I'm not mad at that. So we've got Cam Johnson, who I believe had some question marks coming into tonight's game. He is available. He sprained his ankle or rolled his ankle Monday night against the Warriors. Dorian Finney-Smith, game time decision. I don't know if we've gotten an update on that since the show started. Cam Thomas out, Nick Claxton out, Day'Ron Sharpe out, and Bojan Bogdanovic also out. The big one, of course, Cam Thomas. So Dorian Finney-Smith is
playing.
in. Okay, well, that's good for
the Nets.
Cam Thomas being out, good for the Suns.
Yeah, and Cam Thomas out for a while too. Shams Charania this morning mentioning he's going to be out for quite some time.
Weeks,
3 to 4 weeks. That's a pretty big hit for them. But yeah, with him not out there and him not microwave scoring, like you mentioned, Steven, I feel like Dennis Schroeder is going to have a really big game. And I know it's written in the stars because Cam Johnson is returning tonight and you saw him signing autographs and everything. I feel like he's going to have a really good game tonight, Espo.
No, they're going to stick your boy Ryan Dunn on him and shut him down.
I feel like I got to get Julius Randle just to knee him.
I mean, look, Cam Johnson will probably come out energized because he loves it here in Phoenix. There's no secret about that. There really isn't anybody else, particularly offensively, that is there to light it up for the Nets right now. I looked and actually considered taking him first bucket tonight. It was plus 900. I didn't. You'll see what I went with later, but which will probably piss some people off too.
Oh, no.
But I think Cam's going to take a lot of shots tonight. We'll see if he makes a lot of them, though.
Cam is having a career season to start. And he's displaying a whole lot of the growth that you could see 4 years ago, 3 years ago when he was with the Suns. Unfortunately, he's not in a winning situation, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a laundry list of suitors that are contenders that see his blueprint in their context as something that can shift things for them in a positive way. I think he's going to have a good game. I don't think it's going to be good enough to win, but I think he's going to show how comfortable he is with the buckets at the Footprint Center. But I want to talk about the starting lineups.
Okay.
So Brooklyn is starting Dennis Schroeder, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Zaire Williams, and Ben Simmons. You know what that means?
No true center.
No true center. You know what that means? A whole lot of switching, a whole lot of aggressive defense, a whole lot of 3/4 full court pressure, players picking up whoever it is that's initiating offense every single possession. The Nets roster is a compilation of like hodgepodge wings. Some of them haven't found their way in the league, but that's a lot of length. That's a lot of athleticism. Some of the things that the Suns have struggled with in years past. I'm really curious to see how consistently they stick to the principles they've established versus going away from it and playing one-on-one basketball tonight.
I also feel like you learn a little something from that third quarter last night and see if you can leverage Nurk early in terms of those mismatches, because he's going to have a size advantage, and rather than letting them dictate the pace and basically trying to run him off the court, maybe you dictate it a little bit by leveraging him early and getting him in a mindset where okay, I'm valuable in this game, even though there's a chance I might not be on the court the entire time.
And you can learn from that OKC game where they didn't have any true centers on the roster at the time, and they were switching everything. And obviously you were without two of your three of the big three. However, they watched that game, or at least I sure hope they did, and they saw maybe moments and spots where they could do better. Plus, Mike Budenholzer is notoriously a good coach, so I'm sure that he probably watched that film going into today and knowing that Brooklyn's going to throw some similar looks. And hopefully now that it's not just, hey, this type of defense and Devin Booker's the only offensive option, you got all three out there, that they have the appropriate counters, that it's maybe pesky but not controlling from Brooklyn.
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors in this one. Even though the Nets are super shorthanded, I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk. I think it's much easier than we thought it was going to be yesterday with the news of the injuries, of course, because Cam Thomas averaging just under 25 points per game this season, the 14th in the NBA, I think 8th in the East. So we are going to have to see some guys step up, and Cam Johnson likely could be one of them. He's averaging 18 points per game this season. And there's always that when you go back to where it all started. But even KD talked about that last night too. He said there's a little bit of every team he's been on that's still a part of him as well. So he might feel the exact same way, but reverse. Yeah. Not wanting to let Brooklyn come into his house get a W.
What about Royce O'Neal?
Yeah, Royce O'Neal too. And technically Mason Plumlee, right?
Technically.
Way back when.
I'm not sure he remembers he played there. But,
yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. I don't know.
Steven, you bring up how switchable this team is and everything. Mm-hmm. Is this where a guy like a Tyus Jones becomes extremely important? Because you're not asking Devin Booker or Bradley Beal or Kevin Durant to be the one to bring it up court. To be the one that has to start the offense. So it's not automatic double team on them. Mm-hmm. You can run them off of actions to try to get them a better look. Is that kind of what plays into this tonight?
It does. That is his sole purpose. Other things come after that, but him allowing them to start off ball and work into movement is everything. And to the double teaming point, no other team's double teamed on more possessions than the Nets outside of the Golden State Warriors. So expect for a lot of switching and double teams. If they let Tyus, which is what Tim Legler mentioned to me and Eric recently, if they let Tyus Jones do what his role is for the team and set the table for them, that's going to unlock everything else for them rather than them saying, no, I can just do it. Let him play the role that you brought him in to play and do so without turning the ball over, and it'll make your life easier long term. So speaking to that, I'm just curious to see how much they stick to it versus go against the grain in a sense.
What I find interesting, Steven, about you mentioning the Nets being one of the top two teams and throwing doubles at people is that they're still last in blocks and 29th in steals. And you would think a team that creates that much havoc and sends two to the ball would be able to get their hands on a couple, even if they're leading to open shots. So I'm looking at Kevin Durant specifically, did really well in the turnover department last night. He's going to be put in situations where we've seen him struggle a little bit. Quick double teams, making a quick pass out of there or a quick decision. I want to see crispness with that between all of the big three and Tyus Jones, and see if Brooklyn is able to pick up on the steals and blocks end because they're missing the field goal attempts and the 3-pointers with Cam Thomas gone, then that's the equalizer. So make your quick decisions. Don't get thrown off by double teams and know that one or two passes away is usually going to be a really easy shot.
I think one other thing to look at, you mentioned Tyus Jones. I think this might be a game where also if he's not initiating offense, he's going to be screening a lot. Dennis Schroeder is the only Waldo, the only pigeon that you can look to match up hunt with that starting lineup because there's no one else that lacks in terms of being less than average at worst defensively within that starting unit.
All right, the last thing I have for you guys as far as pregame goes, Nets head coach Jordi Fernandez did talk about Cam Johnson also being a fan favorite for them as well, and then his play as of late.
Favorite for us too, so he has the same role. He's been great, leader by example, great personality, comes in and does his job, and that's the most important thing. And then a very, very, very good basketball player, can use him in different ways. He's not just a shooter. You can give him the ball and he'll make the right play. Defensively, he's been, doing everything we ask him to do. Ball pressure, his positioning is great. He fights. He's all about the right things and what we're trying to do moving forward. So very, very happy to have him with us.
Gerald obviously suffering from the second night of a back-to-back there too.
A little wavy.
Ooh. No, Cam is just such a good template for everything that all teams are looking for in wings, whether you draft them, whether you sign them in free agency, whether you trade for them. He does everything. He checks off all the boxes, and I think he's going to end up somewhere else where his impact is going to be felt in a winning environment sooner than later.
I mean, he's the perfect six-man, fifth starter, as we saw on a championship team, because like Jordy said, he's not just a shooter. He's so smart. And he actually feels like a prototypical draft pick of what we saw like this draft from the Suns, like, older guy who less people are thinking about.
There was a reason why he was on the Suns.
You bet on the person, not the player. And
Absolutely.
I mean, when he got drafted, everybody was like, why are you drafting him this high? And Sean says it best. Everybody loves Cam Johnson.
It was really funny at shoot around today. I think Kellen Olson had asked him how much he's grown since his time here in the Valley with the Suns. And he basically said, the only thing that's really changed is that I grew a beard, which I find hilarious. And then he also kept his house here in Phoenix. Lots of guys have come through and kept their houses here in Phoenix and talked about that. I don't remember who the one prior was. Somebody mentioned it earlier this season, and I can't remember who it was.
Doesn't Mikal still have his place?
Maybe it was Mikal.
don't sleep on
Like
how
Frank
tough.
Kaminsky calls Phoenix
yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
a
he
lot
came
of
back.
people
Yeah.
love being here still.
It's because his wife grew up here. But look, don't scoff at Cam Johnson talking about growing the beard. We saw some of his bad early beards. It's impressive that it grew in.
Listen, they can be hard. I can't relate to you guys,
No,
but
you
I've
can't.
heard it can be really hard to grow a beard. That's
I'll
all I'm
also
saying.
say too, just to peel the curtain back, the Chicago Sky general manager Jeff Pagliocca just trained Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. Obviously covering the Sky, I had opportunities to speak with him on camera and off, and he really emphasized how great those two are at getting game-like reps in practice and drill scenarios, just with skill development. And he said it's no surprise that they're reaching the levels that they are. He told me this like back in February of last year. It's no surprise that they are where they are and where they're ascending towards, because they're such like meticulous workers at the little things within their game, defensively, emphasizing that side in addition to the offense.
And you hope that Ryan Dunn and Oso Igudaro follow in those same footsteps with that same mentality behind the scenes, because there was a reason that the front office was drawn to the Twins, and there was a reason that they were drawn to our new rookies now as well.
I feel like Oso's got a little bit of Cam in him.
Yeah, I could
Especially
totally
from three.
see that.
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Sorry, Oso.
That's
Way to ruin it. Way to
that's
ruin it, Eric.
disrespectful to Cam.
I mean, it was clearly a joke.
Bruh.
All right. What are we wearing tonight, Espo?
Jerseys. The purple Suns burst jersey. This is my favorite. And then the Brooklyn Nets with the most generic of uniforms in the NBA. The white with black trim, and it simply says Brooklyn.
Okay,
I
but I
think
like
it's
that.
fine.
I'm disappointed in the Nets jerseys, and I'm disappointed in you
Why you just
because
Whoa.
you passed up a purple rain opportunity,
Oh,
and that
that's
is
true.
not on my scouting report.
Man, this is why
Tisk,
you're my
tisk.
wingman.
Even Ryan in the chat said purple rain.
Purple rain.
You're letting everyone
There you
down.
go.
Hey, check out that
Espo.
There
shirt
you
down
go.
there.
Oh yeah, we got a new
Ooh.
shirt. Perfect timing.
Ooh.
The new purple rain. Do we have the full screen? We'll show you it in post game. But yeah, there's a purple rain shirt in our shop just in time for Black Friday. You're gonna want one.
Also, speaking of Black Friday, our early access for Die Hard sale is happening right now. So diehards get early access to our Black Friday deals. If you want to get in on the early sale, you can become a diehard today. Grab your favorite stuff before it sells out. This is an awesome opportunity to stock up on all the merch that we have for all the teams in our locker. All the info for diehards that you need to take advantage of the sale are in your emails or in the diehard only Discord, which is another perk to becoming a diehard. So check it out. Go phnx.com.
By the way, T said should have went black again. Apparently, the Suns are breaking the rules, so
Mm.
they
Well.
did go back.
All right. Who you guys got tonight and by how much?
Give me the Suns by 12.
Hey,
Just like my
twins.
man.
Suns by 12 too.
Look at that.
You missed the fist bump that just took
Twinsies.
place.
Get me out of here. After that Espo joke. I'll take Suns by 8.
I got Suns by 6. It's going to be, I don't know. I'm feeling okay about tonight's game.
Ye of little faith.
I feel like it'll be like a 18-point game, and then all the starters are going to be pulled, and there's going to be just a little run by maybe Ben Simmons and co. Maybe Ben's out there, hits a 3, points at me, says that one's for you, Eric. I could see it happening.
I'm sure it will. The
If Ben
Namari
Simmons
has
is
Suns
a
by 17. Sean has Suns by 10. Nacho
Whoa!
with the optimism here. Suns by 23.
Hey, Nacho, is Bradley Beal the leading scorer tonight or what?
Yeah,
Talk
he's
to me.
gonna be. Suns by 23. Are you kidding me?
No, man. Suns were up 60, and then Bradley gave up
All right.
however many that
What
is.
do our
37.
friends at Bet365 think about tonight's game? Let's go ahead and take a peek at the money line and the spread.
Yeah, well, regardless of how well the Nets may have been doing recently, the Bet365, our friends over there, saw the injury report just like we did, and they said, no, we got to amplify this a little more. Suns' money line is minus 300, and their spread is minus 9.0. And then on the other side is plus 310 on the money line for the Nets, and their spread is plus 9. So for you people that are indulging in betting, this is the opportunity for you to lean heavily into that and not expect to see any repercussions
Right.
from your decision.
Am I just hurt so badly that I go, it's a trap.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
I see that.
Well,
It's classic because the team is worse. There's a ton of injuries. You're coming off of a high. Your big three are playing. It's the classic second night of a back-to-back. We kind of think it's going to be easy.
Maybe
Brooklyn
just
plays hard.
take the money line and not the spread. You just kind of mix it up a little bit.
I mean,
here
I still think
instead
they're
of,
going to win by
you know,
12.
don't get greedy. Whatever. All right, it's time for our pregame picks presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use that code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Who wants to tip us off?
Me, Ben Simmons 3-pointer, first bucket, plus 60,000. No, I'm kidding. All right, here is my 4-leg parlay for tonight. I got Dennis Schroeder at 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined. Book at 36.5 points, rebounds, assists. Suns money line, and then Yusuf Nurkic 10.5 plus rebounds. Of course, like I mentioned, Brooklyn, the worst rebounding team in the league. I didn't know if the other big three would play, so I bet on Book, and I think Schroeder's going to have an annoyingly good night.
Okay. Steven?
I'm up to my usual.
Yeah.
Start with the plus 1,400 at the bottom. I'm going to pay attention to that and then look up. They got Kevin Durant at over 22.5 points. I think that's a gimme. Jalen Wilson for the Brooklyn Nets is a player that's been coming on of late, especially in his starts. He's getting almost 20 points on average in those games. And I got him at 15 or more points in this one and also knocking down 3 or more makes from deep. And then the last big one for me, talked about it in the open, Dennis Schroeder. He's going to get at least 5 assists in this game. He's probably going to have closer to 10 or 11, but that's what the numbers gave me in terms of options on the assists. So I took that one. I feel like this one is a layup.
Okay.
I hope for you because, you'll eventually
It's a little tough.
see the surface again. Look, the Bet365 app called this one.
It was okay.
They called this one the Internet Isn't Real Life parlay. I have Yusuf Nurkic 15 plus points, Yusuf Nurkic 5 plus rebounds at a plus 525, and the internet will lose its ever-loving mind.
I actually think that's a great bet. That's really good odds. I think that's a great bet, which means I'm so sorry that your bet's not going to hit.
That's
We're all
definitely a great bet.
But yeah, plus 525 for 15 and 5 against a team that doesn't have a starting center.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad bet.
Why not? I'm rolling with the first field goal tonight. Kevin Durant at a plus 450. Just didn't really feel like being super creative on this one. So Kevin Durant, help a girl out, please, and thank you.
Betting on Kevin Durant scoring is never a bad idea.
It's really not. KD's helped me
never.
win like 90% of my bets this season. Honestly, I think he was a part of literally at least 4 of them that I've won this season. So
You've won
shout
4
out to
bets.
JD.
and
I
you still
I think
have
I've won
12
5.
I'm about to say what's crazy is he's been like the one dude who has cost me like 3.
I think I've won
So
5 or 6 now, to be completely honest with you. But let's look at the leaderboard. What is it looking like?
Well,
right
I mean,
now?
you've won 5 or 6. You must be in the couple hundreds, right?
Listen, I have more money than all of you guys
That's fair. I can't
combined. Honestly, I have $20.93 to my name. Espo has $5. Eric, you've lost $125, and Steven has lost $151.67. Like, I know you guys like to give me grief about only having $20, but you're forgetting that you are negative $150 some odd dollars. Like,
I'm not forgetting.
Never
them
forgot.
dollars is gone.
I just see how
Bye.
easily I could lap you. That's my thing.
Well, we'll
Can
see.
we put that graphic back up? The betting graphic here. I never noticed how much your cartoon head looks like Anna Kendrick.
Do you think I look like Anna Kendrick in that?
I think your cartoon does. I'm not
Okay.
saying you.
Yeah,
just
I
the
don't think I
cartoon.
do.
No.
Well, yeah, I'll take. I guess
Anyways.
my cartoon.
I'm
can-
still
can
jealous
take
of
that.
Steven's cartoon head.
Why? You mean because he's not looking straight
Yeah,
up like yours?
and because his looks accurate too.
All right. Well, if you guys want to get in on the action, hurry up and put those bets in on the Bet365 app. But a disclaimer, you must be 21 or older and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Final thoughts?
Leo, Lindsay, I loved you in Twilight. Of all the Anna Kendrick films to pull, Twilight
one,
is
right?
a unique
So
choice.
random.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
Gosh, Twilight. What a movie. What a movie. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. And of course, don't forget to meet us right back here after the game wraps up for the post-game show. Okay, bye.
We all silly like the mayor.